Back when I was 12 years old, my grandparents were looking to sell their house on Newport and Roscoe Village and move nearby to the corner of Damon and Barry. There's new construction there now, but at the time there was a cute little bungalow on the corner. And I remember we were talking to the listing agent down in the basement. It was myself, I'm pretty positive my sister was there, my mom, my grandparents, and the agent who was Tom Driscoll. Now, at that time, my mom was already enjoying a successful career that she had just recently started. Not recently, maybe about 6 or 7 years into it, in radiology, and she might have been doing ultrasound at the time. She was working at Ravenswood Hospital. It doesn't exist anymore, but the building still does, and I was actually born there. But we were talking down there, and everyone hit it off, especially my mom and Tom. And from that point on, she just kind of got the real estate bug, and I don't know all the conversations that her and my dad ended up having. But she obviously went to pursue that and got her license while she was still working in the medical field. My dad got his license too, even though he was working for City Hall. Now, while that was going on, Tom was making some changes in his life as well. Even though he was a lifelong South Sider, he did real estate up here on the north side and throughout the city, but mainly on the north side. And he was working with Root Realty at the time when they were located on Belmont. But he made a decision to branch out on his own and open up, go figure, Driscoll Realty. And his first office ended up being over the old Hertigan Brisky funeral home, which was on, but the building is still there, on Southport in Wellington, just off of Lincoln. And if we fast forward a little bit, once my mom got her license and started getting a few sales under her belt, she started spending a lot of time at the office. And I didn't like that. So guess what? I started hanging out at the office too. And my sister, being a couple years older, she was actually a part-time receptionist on the weekends for the office, which she had fun doing, and I started hanging out. And my dad and Tom ended up giving me some things to do. I'm sure I was craving attention and just being annoying, so they wanted to toss me some bones. Here, kid, do this. Leave me alone, will you? So I recall one of the first official jobs that I would do on a consistent basis was they would give me photos of listings that they had. And this was the days when you actually took photo on film, took it down to Walgreens, or gosh, I think it was like Fox Film or Fox Photography or something, or Wolf Camera, something like that. All those different options that we had. And actually have the film developed, bring it back to the office. Here, Rick, trace this, make a flyer out of it. And after I created the flyer, ended up using, I don't know if it was actually Xerox, but a Xerox, an old Xerox type of machine, make off a bunch of copies. And then I walked the neighborhood of where the listing was and start passing them out, whether it was rain, sleet, or snow. Just get out there and pass out those flyers. We didn't have social media back then, folks. And it was a pretty part-time job for me, working on the weekends. I don't know if it was at 13 or 14, I started going in the summertime as well, and pretty much working full-time during the summer. Probably Monday through Saturday, or at least having one of the days off during the week. But I was there pretty often. And with my mom being there so often, and my dad being there in the evenings after work, he'd come from downtown. And Tom and I building a very strong friendship. It was a fun place to be and hang out and work. And it was really fun being that age, for my sister and I, getting a few bucks every single week, earning your keep, And the more I worked there, the more I did. They'd send me to clean up properties, which I can share some horror stories about that. Mowing lawns at listings that we had, because that's just what you do. I even ended up helping turn over apartments, whether it was painting, changing out toilets, making repairs. Really learned a lot there and throughout those years. And Tom and I, like I said, we became really good friends, even though we had there was like a 30-plus year age gap. But when I was around 16, I essentially ended up being the office manager, believe it or not. Which, using today's lingo, that would be a combination of an executive assistant and transaction coordinator. I took great pride in keeping the whiteboard and the front window displays up to date with our listings, when we got new ones, when they went under contract and sold. And I left this part out. At this point, we had moved down the street to 2820 North Southport Avenue, a place where I have countless memories. It was a fun time in my life. My teen years were filled with school, work, and hanging out with people and professionals much older than me. I learned a lot because I paid attention, and I'm very glad I did.